Hey everybody, CJ here. Welcome to Ladies Night. We do this every other Wednesday at 7 o'clock. You'll get a behind the scenes look at Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue and especially some of the ladies behind Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue. My name is CJ English. My real name is Charmaine. My last real name is English. I started volunteering with Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue about 5 years ago, when it really was only Keith and his now ex-wife, and they were doing it out of their home, out of like their one-bedroom home, and they had a few other volunteers that came on pretty early on, and one of those was Aliyah. Trista was the first, and then Aliyah. And so chapter 7 tonight out of Rescue Matters is really about Aliyah, and so that's what I'm going to chat with you about. And 2 Wednesdays ago, I told you that I was going to try and get Aliyah on to read because I was going to be out of town. I'm sitting here in beautiful Red Lodge, Montana, social distancing in Montana and Wyoming for a week with my family. So, side note, if anyone is in Red Lodge, Montana right now, and you are close to what I believe is Lions Park, or this red caboose on this side, and gazebo on the other side, why don't you come out, because I've got a signed copy for you waiting for you right after I get done here. I would be happy to give that away. So if there's any Red Lodge people out, I don't think it's a very big town. You should buzz on over and say hello. But I'm going to be reading to you from Rescue Matters. I wrote this book probably about 18 months into my volunteer stint with Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue. It took me about 18 months to write. And that was really, really pushing it. And I felt really desperate at the time to get it out, to tell the world what we were doing, kind of the plight of these invisible dogs that I've come to love. And not only that, but what's really happening around the nation and around the world for that matter. It was all I knew to do was to write a book and to, give as much profit back as I possibly could. So, all right, I got chapter 7 here for you tonight. And I am going to go back to the first page with the dedication, which is just really a reminder to me and everyone as to why I wrote it in the first place. To the millions of dogs that have suffered when there were not enough resources for help, you are not forgotten. So statistically right now, about 1.5 million animals, this is a conservative low number by all accounts, but 1.5 million companion animals get euthanized in shelters each year. And those are healthy, adoptable dogs. Those are the dogs and cats that we rescue. So shedding some light on that is definitely one of the goals of mine. Chapter 7, An Angel is Born, Grand Forks, North Dakota, Aliyah Chapel. I'm sure that she's watching, so give Aliyah a shout out. I asked Aliyah to write in the book in her own words. So these are her own words here until I'm done kind of quoting. I'll let you know. So, quote, I was watching the news and saw a story of how Keith and his wife were rescuing dogs up by the Belcourt area. Having lived by Spirit Lake Reservation and knowing how bad the dog problem can be, I instantly had a tremendous respect for them. I decided to look up Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue on Facebook, and then I started following the page. One night before I went to bed, I was on Facebook, and there was this desperate plea for help. Basically, the post said, if people don't step up and start helping, Keith and his wife were going to be done. They couldn't financially or physically keep doing what they were doing. You could tell they were at their end. I don't know how to describe it, but the post was written kind of scary, like an angry email you'd get from a boss. It just sounded so real. I'd followed other animal rescue pages, but this post stuck out to me. This was real life. These two people needed help, and they were only 3 hours away from where I lived. So I'm gonna stop right there for just a second. I've got a relative of mine, Danielle, helping me with some comments and questions tonight. So if you've got any questions, shout them out. If I miss them here, she's going to write them down and pass them to me. But I want to stop for a second. And one of the things that Aliyah wrote here, it said, I'd followed other animal rescue pages, but this post just stuck out. And now I've seen your comments, and most of the Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue followers, I'm gonna say, felt the same way. It was like, hey, you know, we've saw other things and I love animals and I've been involved here or there, but something about this just sucked me in. And I'd be willing to bet that so many of you feel the same way, that we all just got sucked in, you know, in one way or another for whatever reason. And you know, I've tried to really examine why that might be. How come us, you know, like it's just a handful of people that has sort of grown really quickly and are doing a lot of good. I think it's just because we're really real, very authentic, and maybe that's refreshing, so that there's no smoke and mirrors here with anything that we do with any one of us. It just is what it is. Aliyah Chapel, quote, "I made a donation, but I still didn't feel better. I lay in bed and kept thinking about them for the next few days. I just couldn't forget about it. I was wearing a sweatshirt that I bought from a bonfire campaign that supported Family Dogs New Life Shelter in Oregon, where we had gotten our dog. And that's when it clicked. I was like, well, why don't I reach out to Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue and see if they would want me to make a t-shirt on Bonfire. We could raise some money for them that way. So I did some research and it seemed simple enough. Make a t-shirt, promote it online, Bonfire does all the work, Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue gets all the money. I sent TMAR a message and got a quick response from Keith. He was like, yes, absolutely, let's do this. And so an angel was born. And Aliyah has been with Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue steady all the way through. She's never missed a beat. She's still with us, with Keith, right by his side, a right-hand girl, one of his right-hand girls, so to speak, still today. And she has been pivotal in the success of the rescue by any accounts. Anyone would say that. And on a side note, I probably didn't write too much personal about her, but funniest freaking girl you'll ever meet, like hands down, for real. The most hilarious woman that you'll ever meet in your entire life, who never really responds with words, but only in gifs, which is, you know, that's Aliyah. And so an angel was born, and more were on the way. Together, they would help keep TMAR afloat through the burnout hell everyone before them had crumbled under. Up to that point, no other volunteers besides Aliyah had Stickability. I'm going to correct myself right there. No other volunteers besides Aliyah, except for Trista, had Stickability. And we'll talk about Trista next time. To succeed long-term in rescue, you have to have an incredible amount of self-motivation, passion, and a whole lot of fall down and get back up in you. Even more, you have to be a little bit crazy. It's common in the rescue world for volunteers to readily admit that they, along with their comrades, all have one or more screws loose. Because this statement outs me as one of the crazies too, I must admit that it's true. Upon further examination, the crazy factor actually means that animal rescue attracts those that are uncustomary. And this next paragraph that I'm going to read you here, a reader sent me a screenshot that she had screenshotted this paragraph as the one that stuck out to her the most and that was lasting, which is really cool to hear what you all, you know, find compelling or motivating or what touches you. Individuals that are willing to sacrifice their time and money otherwise spent on lavish American commodities to give back instead of consume. Rescue work is tumultuous at best, fatiguing at the very least. Friendships are tested, marriages stressed, hearts broken, and former lives dissolved under the sometimes oppressive duties that come with saving animals no one else wants. Only the toughest people survive this type of selfless life. Aliyah fits that mold. And she was one of just a few volunteers that stuck around long enough to make a big difference. And of course, Aliyah is still around today. She and her husband had just had their first baby around the time she reached out to Keith. So Aliyah was a full-time nurse, mom, but still, she couldn't turn away from what was happening so close to her. She found moments to help, sometimes 1 minute, sometimes 1 hour. She was notorious for sneaking into the bathroom at work and returning messages or help line up transports. True story. I wish I could go back through my screenshots and search how many times Aliyah said, "I'm texting from the bathroom. I hope my boss doesn't find out," or "I hope someone doesn't find out." I hope I didn't just out her, but you know, that's what it takes, is every spare second that you've got. People say, "I don't have time to volunteer." I don't have time to volunteer either. I have so many things that I want to do, that I do, that are fulfilling, that are fun, that are rewarding, that are not, that are obligations, just all of that mixed in. We all do. My best advice for how can I help is always figure out what your skill set is and put that to the best possible use for whatever organization in your area or around or abroad that is. And don't wait until you retire or when you have more time, because a lot of our volunteers devote a lot of time, and some of the volunteers, self included, only devote a small amount of time in the grand scheme of the week, and that comes in small chunks every day in little moments over the lunch hour, in the bathroom, at night or whenever. So getting involved in some way or another is possible for everyone who really wants to. I asked Aliyah to tell me about those early days when she just met Keith, and this is what she said. So, Aliyah's words here. Keith, quote, "Turns out there were a couple of problems. One, I have zero experience with Photoshop and designing t-shirts. And two, Keith, I would soon learn, is, in capital letters, extremely picky," which might be a nice way to put it. "I put together a tacky looking shirt with clip art images that Bonfire supplied, a paw print, of course, with the TMAR name on it. It was seriously awful." Then Keith kept going on and on and on about how he wanted to have a dream catcher with the words intertwined and blah, blah, blah. And I was in way over my head. I needed help. I wanted it to be perfect so we could raise some good money for the folks in these animals. My husband was like, "Why don't you ask Jenny? She does graphic design and she could probably help you out." So I messaged her and she was in. And I introduced her to Keith. In a few days, she had made a t-shirt with our North Dakota rescue design and the most perfect quote on the back. We launched the fundraiser, and 3 to 4 days in had already brought in $1,000 profit. I think that doubled whatever was in the account at that time. Whenever I wore that shirt, I got asked constantly where I got it from. I kept in touch with Keith over Facebook and started doing transports here and there. Then I went down for a rummage sale in Belcourt later that summer, where all the profits would benefit Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue. We made $400 at that rummage sale. That was the day that I met Keith in person. Now, if you're just tuning in, I'm quoting Aliyah. I asked Aliyah if she would please write about when she first met Keith, when she first got involved, how she first got involved, or just tell me something, whatever you really want to say. And this is what came out. So this is still Aliyah here. Keith asked me if I could take back a couple of dogs with me. The Muppets, I called them. A family with 2 young kids were giving up their beloved dogs because they couldn't afford to buy them food or take care of them. They cried when they put them in the car, and I cried on the way home thinking about it. These people love their dogs, they just couldn't afford them. I know this is judging, but by the way they looked, they barely could afford to feed their kids too. I went home and had a reality check. The Muppets stayed at my house overnight. It was the first foster, I guess you could say. I gave them baths, bought them new collars, then I brought them to a shelter where they could eventually be adopted. Knowing what I know now, I had such a different way of thinking back then. I learned not to judge people who give up their animals. The Muppets were given up out of love. They have a better life now because of the selflessness of that family. And after that day, I was hooked. I wanted to keep helping Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue. And I've got some more, but I'm gonna take a quick drink here. I don't have any wine tonight. Cheers, ladies. Happy ladies' night. I sort of am out of my normal area and have been doing some hiking all day, so I just happen to have what I have, but cheers. In rescue especially, emotions run high and stress is ever present. Tension can begin to unravel even the best of friendships and the happiest of marriages. Hours of transporting, barking, crying puppies and dogs, endless trips to the vet, fostering, in addition to having all of the animals of your own, makes for a life that is far from normal. Volunteering in animal rescue is a noble, selfless act, and rarely does anyone have ample time and money to do the work they need to do without tremendous personal sacrifice. This is what Keith's life had become. He needed help with every aspect of the rescue operations. One by one, he amassed a small but mighty team that evolved together and overcame the impossible. Keith dubbed that team the Angels, and another one was about to be born. I've got a little footnote at the bottom. I mentioned Jenny, and I want to read the footnote that I wrote about Jenny. Jenny was with Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue for about 2 years after that first t-shirt project. She played a pivotal role in fundraising, fostering, transport coordination, rescue-to-rescue relations, and more. She was involved with many aspects of the daily rescue operations. Jenny eventually left Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue, but continued her rescue efforts with multiple organizations. She still saves lives today. I reached out to Jenny and asked if she wanted to tell me about her time with TMAR, and she gave me permission to use her real name, but declined to comment further. And so I think it's really important to, and I guess even if they don't want to be recognized or known, how do you not recognize someone who's done so much good? We've come so far. So, I know that this year we've, gotten over that 5,000 animal mark, and I put up on a post the other day just how many cats and dogs that we had in foster. It's just insane, the amount of dogs that we take in for such a small operation. Every single person behind the scenes plays a pivotal role in every single one of those rescues, and without you guys we wouldn't be an organization, and we wouldn't be able to keep going. It's just absolutely gives a whole new meaning to it takes a village. And so I've got, if you've read the book, I put some of the dog stories in there, some of the people stories, and I've got Smokeys Story here that I'm going to read for you guys tonight. And then I'll see you again in 2 weeks for chapter 8, which is Trista. So I've got Smokeys Story. Her whiskers were scorched, and her hair was covered in soot when the firemen found her. Smokey was the sole survivor of a house fire that destroyed everything around her. The Belcourt Fire Department responded to a house engulfed in flames. After putting out the fire, a 2-hour search showed no signs of people or animals, dead or alive. On a routine follow-up, the next day, they found Smokey. The firemen sifted through the ash and rubble, looking for a lingering spark, when Smokey stepped out from underneath what was left of a deck. She was scared but not injured. The other dog she was with did not survive. Quote, "No one really knew what to do about Smokey. Everyone already had too many animals. I had known Keith Benning from working with him when he was at the sheriff's office, Dylan Midrud said. I told the boys he does great work and I trust him and his organization, and they agreed and we contacted him. That is how Smokey came to Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue. The story might seem insignificant if you live in a city with animal control, where firemen and officers can take foundlings. But here, before Keith turned his life and home into an animal rescue, there were few, if any, good options for dogs like Smokey. I reached out to the guys at the fire department when I was writing the story and asked them to help me just with the facts and what happened and how they felt about it, and I wanted to include their picture in the book. So with all the chapters, I've got pictures of the dogs that I felt were meaningful. If you've got the Kindle version, it's got all the color photos and more. Thank you to AJ, Lyric, pictured holding Smokey, Cole, and Dylan for your service and compassion toward animals. Photo is courtesy of the firemen at the Belcourt Fire Department. So, but let's see, what else do I got? I got some questions here. I love questions, and I'll try and go back through them. If I don't get to them or I don't see them tonight, I will go back through the comments. What does your tattoo mean? Cool, thanks for asking. You guys have been asking about all our tattoos lately, right? I heard about Amanda and Keith, and the tattoos on my arm are all of the places and memories that were tattooed on my heart long before I ever even thought to tattoo them on my skin. So I've got coordinates and travel stamps and locations and things that are really deeply personal and meaningful to me. And when I decided that I was going to do it, for me, honestly, the obvious choice was animal rights, right? Like, you cover me head to toe, forehead to toes, and like animal rights tattoos. That would be me all the way through and through. But that's painful. And I was just like, God, I just don't know if I'm ready to do it. I don't want to be reminded of the painful stuff. And sometimes that's, what being involved in animal rights or animal rescue is. So I didn't do that. I've got a couple others. But I'm going to go all the way down, of course. If you commit this far, why not go all the way? And working on what that looks like, and really need to include, some animal rights stuff in there. Where do we find Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue gear to purchase? The hat, the shirt, a bunch of cool gear, and the book is all on the Turtle Mountain Animal website, and I sign all the copies that go on the website. We don't sort of promote that, but they are all signed if they come off the website, and that's an awesome place to get them, or you can get the book on Amazon or anywhere that books are sold. Somebody trying to get you on Ellen asking how to contact you. I guess if it happens, it happens, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, we've got you, you've got us, we've done a lot of good. Like, we're just gonna keep trucking along day after day. There's no fame or celebrity or ulterior motives in anything that we do. Like, we just literally want to save animals and stop the suffering, and like, when you see that, you can't help but not do it. That's it. Like, that's it. What is the Turtle Mountain Animal website? Is turtlemountainanimalrescue.org, and this shirt and many of the others are on there. All the books on the website are signed. If you get them anywhere else where books are sold, they are not signed, but if you can get it to me, I can get it back to you and sign them. I want to thank all the ladies behind Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue. I'm going to talk about Trista next. Be sure and tune in tonight for Amanda at 9 o'clock. She'll be live at the rescue. I'm not sure who she's going to be with, if she's going to be with Beauty, or Belle, I should say, or whoever else, but Amanda's so sweet. I am working on another rescue book. It's going to encompass a lot of things about Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue. It's going to encompass a lot of things about animal rights in general. And when I say animal rights, I don't mean that I'm going to chain myself to a tree in Red Lodge, Montana, until they, you know, release all the dogs from the shelter or whatever. Animal rights to me is just not sitting on the sidelines, just not being silent and not turning away, not closing your eyes, not turning the channel, not scrolling past the videos. You know, I haven't eaten animals in 19 years, and I saw a meme recently that said, you know, the only reason I'm vegan and you're not is because I watch the videos that you don't want to. And I felt like a lot of that was true, that I just decided a long time ago. My husband was like, why are you watching that? And not so much anymore, but I said, I feel like I just don't want to be ignorant. Like, I don't think ignorance is bliss. I think ignorance is ignorance. And knowledge and knowing what's going on has to be the start of solving those problems. So I'm working on all of that in my next rescue book, including everything that's sort of progressing within the rescue. And, you know, we have land and we're working on building a shelter. So I really hope that I can include all of that when the time comes. You can go to my website, cjenglishauthor.com, and sign up to be notified when that book comes out. I don't send any spam or follow-up or newsletters or anything like that. I probably should, but I don't, and I won't. So I'll only send you a message if there's a sale or if there's a new book, so that you genuinely are like, I know that you wanna get that book. What's wrong with Scott? Is something wrong with Scott? I don't know if something's wrong with Scott. I'm going to tell you honestly. I don't know. I have been in a place with no cell service for days, and only just a little bit tonight, and I had to find this place tonight and drive down from the mountains. So that makes me a little worried. I don't know if something's wrong with Scott. Did he hack off a limb or a thumb or something? Or if you said what's wrong with Keith, I'd be even more worried, because he's the real accident prone one lately. Smokey is the rescue cat. Yes, I thought Smokey was the rescue cat. Yep, Smokey is the rescue cat at the resident garage rescue. The dog that I read about tonight was Smokey from a while back, which we need to come up with as creative names as possible. What made them keep Smokey instead of putting up for adoption? Smokey the rescue cat, I can't wait to include that story in my next book. Here's a preview of it. Let me think about getting the facts correct here. Keith and Smokey had multiple run-ins before. If I remember correctly, Smokey was sort of the cat that no one could catch, but was stray, but nice. And I want to say it was years that went by. I have to double check. I'll get it. I want to say it was years that went by, but someone came to Keith and had this cat, and it was Smokey, and he'd sort of been trying to get it or heard about it for a long time. So Smokey is sort of serendipitous, and Smokey's the coolest cat. I think Keith should wear him around his neck all the time, like his living fur, you know, whatever, which is the only way fur should be wore, is living around your neck in the form of a cat that loves you, that's been rescued, in my opinion. Is Bella on vacation with me? Thank you for asking. I don't have any animals here tonight. Bella's not on vacation with me. She doesn't love car rides. Her hair seems to explode like a hay bale went off, and she has some anxiety. So she had to stay home with my daughter, who's 20, taking great care of her. How do I donate an item for either the auction or the garage sale? Ruth Ann, thank you so much for the question. Message the Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue page, the Facebook page, and they will, depending on what it is, they'll give you an exact address or give you more information about it. I'm going to scroll through the comments when I can here, and I know that there's some of you that have tuned in before. I appreciate it so much, and thank you for anyone new tuning in tonight. Check out Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue, check out the book Rescue Matters. Portion of the profits go back to Turtle Mountain Animal Rescue, and it makes me so happy to get our story out there. So if you've got the book, leave it at your library, leave it in the seat back of an airplane, you know, wherever, pass it along, share it, whatever, just get it out there. And however I can help get it out there, you can contact me as well, and together hopefully we can do a lot of good. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, and we'll keep going every other Wednesday until I get the book finished. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Bye.